Today you will be able to simplify radical expressions. In your notebook, write today's date, 11.2, simplify radical expressions. Copy question number 6. So using the product and quotient properties, simplify the expression. Radical expression will be a 1 which has a square root symbol. So the square root symbol looks like this. So to simplify this, you got 72 inside the square root. So 72, you need to find the prime factorization. So 72 can be broken apart as 9 times 8. And 9, you can break it apart as 3 times 3. 8, you can break it apart as 4 times 2. So I'm going to go for the last step. I'm going to just bring it all to the same level. 2 is got by 2 times 2. So once you get to the last step, you cannot break it any further. So I'm going to take the square root, and instead of writing 72, I'm going to write the 72 as 3 times 3 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now 3 and 3 are a pair. 2 and 2 are a pair. So if you have a pair, I'm going to take just one of those out. 3 and 2 has a pair, I'm going to take it as 2. Now this 2 on the other hand doesn't have a pair, so it is stuck inside the square root symbol. If you have a pair, you can bring one of them outside of the square root symbol. So now 3 times 2 is going to give you a 6. 6 square root 2 will be the answer. And that is the simplest version of the expression square root of 72. So square root of 72 is the same as 6 square root 2. Copy question number 8. So inside the square root symbol you have 4. So 4 I can break it apart as 2 times 2. And the second one, x squared, I can break it apart as x times x. So the same thing I'm going to rewrite to be as 2 times 2 times x times x. Now you're looking for a pair. So this is a pair and this is a pair. So if you have a pair, you can bring them outside of the square root symbol and x. So there is nothing inside the square root symbol, so you don't even have the symbol. You just have 2x as your answer. So square root of 4x squared is nothing but 2x. Copy question number 11. Now one key important thing you got to understand is you have a square root of 5 and a square root of 13. The dot implies you are multiplying. So this is one scenario you have to understand. So if you have a radical expression and another radical expression and you are multiplying, then the first step is you can bring all of them inside. You cannot bring them inside if you have a plus or a minus. So you got to be cautious. If you're multiplying, you just open up a big square root symbol and bring the 5 and the 30 inside. So 5, I'm going to leave it as it is. The 30, I'm going to break it apart as 6 and 5. So 6, I'm going to break it as 3 and 2. So basically my 30 is 3 times 2 times 5. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. So I'm going to break my 30 as 3 times 2 times 5. So once I get the step, I'm going to look for pairs. So my 5 and another 5 is a pair. So I'm going to pull them outside of the square root symbol. Now 3 doesn't have another 3. 2 does not have another 2 as a pair. So they are stuck inside. So the 3 and the 2 cannot go outside of the square root symbol. So 5 square root of 3 times 2 is going to be 6, and this will be the final answer. This is the simplest expression for this question. Copy question number 14. This one is actually an easy question, just takes multiple steps. So once again, you got to be cautious. In this case, it's multiplying. So write this down. If you are multiplying, you can just open up a big one and you can pull all of them inside into one big shelter. You can only do this provided you are multiplying. Don't do it if you are adding or subtracting. So now I have square root of 3. I'm going to leave it as this. B cube is nothing but I'm going to break it apart as b times b times b. So b cube, I'm going to write it as b, b, b. 18, I'm going to break it apart as 9 times 2. 9, I'm going to break it apart as 3 times 3 times 2. So 18 is going to be 3 times 2, and the last b stays as it is. So now once I have the breakdown, now I'm trying to see if there are any pairs. So b and b is a pair, and this b and this b is a pair, and these two threes are a pair. So let's pull out the pair. B and B, I'm going to pull out 1. For this B and this B, I'm going to pull out another B outside. And for the 3 and the 3, I'm going to pull out 1 3 outside. Now, square root symbol. 3 does not have another 3, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. 2 does not have another pair to match it, so just going to write the 2. So this becomes 3. B becomes B squared. B times B is B squared. Open parenthesis, open square root. 3 times 2 is going to be 6. And this is the simplest expression. Copy question number 19. Really a simple question, easy question. So you look on the numerator, you look on the denominator. So this I'm going to break it apart as square root of. 4 is nothing but 2 times 2. So I'm going to write the numerator as 2 times 2. Denominator 49, I'm going to break it apart as 7 times 7. So denominator, I'm going to break it as 7 times 7. So now I'm fine looking for pairs. 2 and 2, I'm going to pull out 1, 2. So they're gone. 7 and 7, I'm going to pull out, it's a pair. 7 and 7, I'm going to pull out 1, 7. So this will be the final answer. So square root of 4 over 49 is the same as 2 over 7. Now performing the operations on radicals, simplify the expression. Now this one is totally different. You have a plus, you have a minus. So if you have a plus and a minus, you cannot pull them inside a square root symbol. So one possible thing you have to do is you got to treat this as separate and this as separate. So I'm going to highlight and show you. So this is a total and different entity and this is a different entity. You cannot group them together. But if you look at these two different terms, they are totally different. One of them could refer to apples, one of them could refer to the oranges. But within them, take a look. Look at the square root of 2 in both the scenarios. So they both are the same. So since they are the same, I'm going to pull them together. Now I'm going to open and close. Now this and this are different. So I'm going to pull them as 2 plus 6. So pull the same one once and pull all the others together inside a parenthesis. So 2 plus 6 is going to give you 8. 8 square root 2 will be the answer. Pause the video, rewind the video and watch this again. Now let's focus on question number 36. So the same scenario, you got 2 square root of 6 minus 5 square root of 54. So if you look at this, you cannot pull them inside a 1 square root symbol because it's not multiplying. In this case, it's a subtraction. The second thing, there is nothing in common. So let's see if you can break this apart. So this is going to be 2 and 6 is nothing but 3 times 2 minus 5. And 54, let's break apart the 54. 54 is 9 times 6. 9, I can break it apart as 3 times 3. And 6, I can break it as 3 times 2. So this becomes 3 times 3 times 3 times 2. So now let's erase this. So this basically is 2 times. Since it doesn't have any same pair, same partner, this just becomes a 6 minus 5. Now let's look for pairs. 3 and 3 is a pair. So I'm going to pull one of them outside the square root symbol. The rest, 3 and 2, doesn't have another 3. It doesn't have another 2 to go outside. So 3 times 2 just becomes a 6 basically. So now the next step. 2 square root of 6 minus 5 times 3 is 15 square root of 6. Now watch this one. I'm going to highlight square root of 6, square root of 6 in both the places. So they both are the same. So the same, I'm going to pull it outside. Open close parenthesis. Now the 2 and this, they are different. So I'm going to pull the 2, I'm going to pull the minus, I'm going to pull the 15. The rest goes inside the parenthesis. So this becomes 2 and negative 15 combines to give you negative 13. Square root of 6 tags along and this will be the answer. Once again, pause the video, rewind the segment and rewatch it again to have a better understanding. Now copy question number 41. Question number 41 is a simple question. Number 1, you have to understand you are looking at a distributive property. So I have something inside a parenthesis, I have a number outside. So distributive property goes first. So 6 square root multiply 7 square root of 3 plus 6 square root of 6. Square root of 6 multiplies the first one. So I'm getting square root of 6, 7, square root of 3 all in one. And square root of 6 multiplies 6. So I'm getting 6 square root of 6. Now once you recognize the distributive property and apply the distributive property, now you're looking at multiplying. So this multiplies, this multiplies. If it does multiply, you can pull them all together. So 7, I cannot pull them inside a parenthesis. 7, I cannot pull inside the square root symbol. The only thing I can pull is the 6 and the 3. So watch this again. So square root of 6, square root of 3, they are multiplying. If they are multiplying, I can pull them inside the square root symbol, inside the radical symbol. 7, on the other hand, is not inside the square root symbol, so it is staying outside. So that's the one cautious step you got to follow. Plus 6 square root of 6. So this becomes, let's focus on square root of 6. 6 I can break it as 3 times 2. So I'm going to open 6, I'm going to break it as 3 times 2. The other 3 just follows. So now I have, inside my square root symbol, I have a pair. So if I do have a pair, I can happily come outside. 2 doesn't have a pair, it's going to stay inside. Plus 6 square root of 6. Even if we try to break up the 6 apart, it's still going to be 3 times 2, and they're not going to have a pair, so square root of 6 stays the same. That's the lowest you can go. So 7 times 3 is 21. Square root of 2 plus 6 square root of 6 will be the answer. This is as best as you can simplify.